When you beat the Astros, it does my heart good, especially if it happens in Houston, because as you know, I'm of the mind that 2017 was an illegal, like, gotten gains for the World Series.
Well, your
That
Dodgers.
So you're happy with Carlos Correa's slump?
I'm always happy whenever something horrible happens to him or to Springer or to Gurriel. I wish they could get them all together, get the old gang all together, the whole gang of cheaters for a photo op and a reunion.
I always enjoyed the heck out of Altuve before the
You don't have
fiasco.
an Astros cheater class of 2017 without Altuve, without the shirt tugger.
Oh yeah, the
have the
open shirt with the
No.
microphone. I mean, just like, good God.
Don't tear it off of me. Don't show people my buzzer.
I mean, I liked him because what is he, about 5 foot and hits like a maniac, but whatever.
People continue to throw him fastballs. I continue to manage a better game from my sofa than any manager in Major League Baseball. Don't throw him a freaking fastball. Walk, Judge, walk, Ohtani. It's within the rules. Just do what I say. Hook me up. Hook me up from the sofa the way you interview guys while they're out in the field on the weekends, But that can't wait till after the game. You got to interview them during the game.
I've thought about that a lot, Bob. Is why will we ever get to the point where the fans are the managers? I mean, it's just like, esports is so popular and betting is so popular. Can we just kind of be the manager and tell, all right, I want this player to go up there and bunt. I want this player to be walked. I want this player. I mean, a baseball manager, what are they doing anyway?
Bob and Kel CleverCast, originating from Twin Cities in Minnesota, suburban coastal Los Angeles County, the week of June 8th, 2023. I thought about you, Kel, last week while we were downtown at a Los Angeles Philharmonic show. This has to do with a problem you had last week, and it wasn't the freezing of the technical difficulties with the freezing. The fabulous, legendary Japanese pianist Mitsuko Ukeda was performing with the LA Phil, the Beethoven 27th Piano Concerto. I turned to my partner and I said, I don't see any sheet music. And the partner says, she's doing it from memory. I said, a 75-year-old playing Beethoven Piano Concerto number 27 from memory? I know a 50-year-old man who has no idea where his car keys are.
You are
That's
too much.
Really, I think that's really shocking. The difference is, from person to person, their strengths and weaknesses. 75 years old. You have to know when to come in. You have to know what to play when you're in. You have to know how to get out and wait to come in again. That's what a piano concerto is. And this woman, apparently she's, done it hundreds of times, I guess, even though the source material is so vast, even with the major composers. But just was there for like 20 minutes. Off she goes. She collects her 100 grand and la-di-da. Pretty cool.
Nice. So you're out and about again.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I have some other news about that particular visit. But first things first, what's exciting in you guys' lives? Any hopes and dreams for the weekend or for the summer? Any big travel plans? Any local outings?
Well, we're heading down to South Carolina in July.
I'm sorry?
I'm heading down to South Carolina in July.
And is this like on a dare, or are you taking a tour of the original slave states, or what's happening?
Oh, just to see some friends.
And you have friends who live in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Do they own slaves? I'm just curious.
No, they gave that up recently.
You know what? I actually took some listeners on a trip to South Carolina back in the day for golf. Kiowa Kiowa Island or something like this. It's a beautiful state. I mean, it's right out of a Southern Gothic novel with all kinds of swaying, willow trees, and it's a beautiful place. It's just, there's so much cruelty, as expressed in the song "Southern Man" by Neil Young, happened that I don't know. It was a little like being in kind of a Dixie Auschwitz. So from that standpoint, I was glad to leave. I hope your stay will be less meaningful. I mean, it will be more meaningful.
Well,
That's what I meant to say.
yeah. Take a dip in the ocean, right? And cool off if it gets
Oh,
too
you're going to
hot.
be on the coast? You're going to be on the
Yeah.
on the beach?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Definitely. Um,
Is this
and
a
also,
family thing, or is this just you and the missus, or how's that go?
yeah, the missus, and we're just meeting some friends and, parties and stuff like that, just getting away.
And the
Uh,
the kids are going to be back in suburban St. Paul?
yeah, that's the great thing with having kids who are old enough to mind themselves, just like we can leave and they'll be fine for a weekend. So,
What about you, Kurt? What's happening?
And you locked up.
who, me?
No, Bob did for a little bit.
Oh.
Anyway, as far as nothing planned, right? Keep working on the house. Just finished the front deck with my
Excellent.
brother-in-law. So that was a fun little project.
This reminds me that I never watched 5 minutes of Home Improvement, of that series.
Neither have I.
That was what was that? That was Tim Allen, and that was the girl who, unless I have her mixed up with the woman on Dukes of Hazzard, she always had her hands in her hip pockets. And then there was another guy. I never
Yeah.
saw.
Pam Anderson,
I
wasn't
just never,
Pam Anderson got her start on that show.
on Home Improvement.
Yeah, right. Wasn't that Pam
Wow.
Anderson? Wasn't she the Tool Time girl?
That could very well be true. And what she went from there to Baywatch.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of TV, very exciting announcement from our house is that next week the Dahmer civil litigation against Netflix for internet intellectual property theft is happening, and hopefully I won't have to testify. And I don't know who the Superior Court judge appearing before is. It's not going to be Lance Ito. Apparently, he either retired or died in the past 30 years. I was a big Ito fan. The dancing Itos on the Tonight Show, yada yada yada. But it has to do with a couple of scenes that I simulated in those like 86 to 92 years from his arrest in 86 that outed him as a perv, and then 92 when he was sentenced. Those were the KSTP years, and I wrote and performed myself some dialogue simulating Mr. Dahmer's social circulation among his Milwaukee friends and acquaintances. One of the scenes went something like this: "Hey, you want to come in and play some Scrabble?"
Oh, Mr. Dahmer, she'd eat me. Word's getting around.
"Oh, I won't eat you. I just ate."
You're kidding me.
"No, just ate the mailman."
You ate another mailman? We're not getting mail as it is. Postal people they're going to be upset.
"I swear to you, I just ate. If you don't believe me, I'll show you what's left of him in the deep freeze. If you want to, I'll let you wear his hat."
Okay.
So the kid goes up the steps into up to like the tenement row house looking steps there in urban Milwaukee. Door closes behind him.
I hope you're right, Mr. Dahmer. I hope you're not going to eat me. I hope you just ate lunch.
And Jeffrey Dahmer says, "That's true. I just ate lunch, but I haven't had dessert." So somehow, some version of that fictionalized theater of the mind type dialogue made it onto the Netflix series
Did you watch it?
special, the Dahmer special. And no, I had to hear this from my entertainment attorney. So,
Oh,
so the discoveries happened. The run of his. There's one other scene, by the way, which happens at one of Dahmer's friends' house, a local Milwaukee, yeah, local Milwaukee cannibal, and they're having lunch, and the other cannibal says, "I hate my mother-in-law," and Jeffrey Dahmer says, "Well, just eat the noodles."
God. Oh man.
So how in the world does
See,
something like
I
that is kind of tragicomic and caricaturish wind up on a Netflix special? We're going to get to the bottom of this. I can't believe that it's unconscious plagiarism. It has to be on purpose. And I'm going to be right there to profit from that kind of creative difference type arrogance. And
yes.
I can retire again. I can retire a second time.
I thought you were going to tell a bad joke that the cannibal who ate the clown and said this tastes funny, but you wouldn't go
That's
that
a pretty
low.
good one. But you know what?
Yeah,
I,
that's an old,
I can use that on a future podcast or a competing
that's an
podcast.
oldie but a goodie, as they say.
This tastes funny. Well, actually, the just eat the noodles joke. I should credit Walter Matthau with that. He did that on a Cabot show here locally about 30 years ago. So credit to him for that. Still looking forward to litigation. I guess you know that this week is the 100th anniversary of a unique achievement and contribution that hopefully will never happen again. His name was Frank Hayes. He was a jockey at Belmont. 100 years ago, a century ago this week, Belmont Park, where it's thought that maybe in a couple of days the Belmont Stakes may have to be canceled because of the winds carrying the fires and whatnot. He struggled to make it to the 130 weight level so he could be on a horse called Sweet Kiss, 20-1 in the seventh at Belmont. And this is not a Dahmer litigation type joke. This is on the level. This shit happened. I could not make this up. So he left himself open to health problems because of his attempts to get down to the weight, just like a boxer would. You know how sometimes boxers weaken themselves by trying to come down too many weight levels to fight a particular fighter. Um, he died. He died coming down the stretch on his horse. He pitched forward in his saddle, but still stayed on the horse as it finished, as it went over the finish line ahead of the other horses. And the part that I got a kick out of, as I was reading about this on Wikipedia, is that because he died, they chose to forego the requisite weighing in. You know, the way the winning jockey usually weighs in with his saddle and his gear and whatnot to further confirm that he weighed a certain amount. Otherwise, they would have had to drag the man's corpse in his saddle and kit and whatnot and put it on the scales. That's a pretty funny image, I think. Frank Hayes is his name. Riding was his game, and he died doing it. So I just thought we should salute his sacrifice on this
Right.
centennial anniversary of that race at Belmont.
Cheers. Gosh, I need to start bringing more adult beverages.
I forgot my
Bob?
I forgot my pill bottle. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Tommy, can you hear me? I was hoping we could use that with Thomas Copenhaver, but when he was a guest,
Okay.
but no. I was going to wave a pill bottle at you and say that the bifocal accident of the week is brought to you by Tadalafil 20, which is my what do you call it? Prostate therapy pill that I had purchased the other day for the first time. I'm telling you, gentlemen of a certain age, if you purchase Tadalafil 20, use that GoodRx coupon at Rite Aid on Wilshire. You will throw rocks at Tadalafil 10 for reasons I'll get into in just a second. But here's the bifocal accident. Todd to leave Meet the Press.
Yes.
You did see the headline.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's how I saw the headline as a bifocal accident, and I had to look closer. I thought it said, Chuck told to leave Meet the Press. In other words, shoot, get out of here. Don't let the door hit you in the ass, and don't come back.
Like Bob told to leave KSTP, that type of thing.
If his name had been Todd, but this Bob's name is not Todd. The Todd looked like told to me. I don't know how extensively I need to explain the jokes, but that is the bifocal accident of the week. Chuck told to leave Meet the Press. Now, about Tadalafil 20. It's obviously twice the potency of tadalafil 10. It's generic Cialis. There's no other way to put it. And I can only relate my experience. Other people may have different experiences, but the first time that I took it after I got it home, it was like the anticipation of meeting a lover. I took my first pill, settled back from my daily 45-minute nap, and awoke to a telltale stretchiness in my nether regions. I looked down and I said, "Oh my God, I'm in Pornhub heaven. I've died and gone to Pornhub heaven. Just call me Brad Newman." And I'm thinking, the girlfriend is on her way home. How do I get rid of this? She'll think I've been up to no good. So there was no riding crop nearby to swat it with, as I've seen racehorses swatted with jockeys riding crops to settle them down, get their mind on the racing business. There was no time to organize a an ice bath. So obviously I gravitated, as God intends. He wants you to use the laptop for a release that will take care of things for at least an hour or two under the influence of Stalifel 20. Let me tell you about the riding crop. I was writing for a quarter horse racing magazine, a trade journal for owners and trainers of running quarter horses. This is circa 1980. I'm in a saddling paddock at Sunland Park in New Mexico covering this particular event. They trot the horses out to let the bettors and the other connections have a look at them. One horse did not have racing on his mind, judging by the length and girth of his member. It was a smoldering purple log, stretched to the nth degree, sub-zero baby fat, a super soaker ready to explode until an owner or an owner or a trainer who happened to be a woman grabbed the wand, the riding crop, the stick, whatever, the bat, I've heard it called a bat, out of the jockey's hands and went back like this to a position that golf coaches called parallel and swung it with such might you could just tell that she was getting even with every man who'd ever done her wrong. And when it hit that horse's dick, if an equine if a horse's face could look like a human's at that moment, it would look something like this.
Okay,
And then
Kel.
eventually, there was like almost a calliope sound as it went down after the swat of the riding crop. And it maintained its canter or whatever you want to call it around the saddling paddock. I don't recall what happened in the race, but she knew how to get the horse's mind back on racing and not breeding. I don't know, whether there were fillies in the group or what the deal was. By the way, it just occurs to me, Sweet Kiss, the horse ridden by the late Frank Hayes, was a filly. How about that?
Ooh, wow.
Sweet Kiss. And after that race, Sweet Kiss was retired and referred to in thoroughbred racing circles as Sweet Kiss of Death.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what I'm
I
talking
just
about.
all I know is when you went to say back to the riding crop story, I knew we were heading for some interesting tales.
And you got one, right? I gave
I
you
did.
one. Okay. I had to my mind had to go to that amazing funniest of all stage entertainment plays that I wrote about customer service called Person versus Wait Person when we checked into the hotel across from Disney Concert Hall for the date with Gus Dudamel and the LA Phil within the past week. Conrad Hilton Hotel downtown LA we had never stayed in, so we were looking forward to that. Sit down for lunch within just a couple of hours of checking in, and we noticed that as of about half hour after ordering, a lot of food was being delivered 2 tables away from us to an empty table. And I'm thinking, well, they're just staging something. for a brochure. They're going to photograph the food they're laying out. We had seen that kind of thing happen before at the Sherman Deli in Palm Springs. As it turns out, that was our food that they delivered 2 tables away where no one was sitting. We complained. They said, "Here, let us make it up to you. We'll have some champagne sent over to your table." So the guy goes away, comes back, not with champagne. Apparently, somebody nixed that backstage. He came back with a hamburger size cream puff. I don't know whether you're familiar with the term Whataburger from the state of Texas, but this was a Whataburger sized cream puff. The top and the bottom were devil's food. The inside was whipped cream, and inside the whipped cream was ice cream.
Oh,
They never asked, "Sir, are you by any chance type 2 diabetic?" Brought it over to the table. And
wow.
that's how they made it up to us with something that would give you a heart attack on the spot or send me into seizures. So that's customer service nightmare number one from the Conrad Hilton. And then it's almost like they're bookends. As we're leaving, we go to the valet area to receive our bags and to have the bags put in the car so we can drive away. They roll out what they think is our car, a Toyota. And I'm not condescending to Toyota drivers. I'm sure Toyota makes a nice car. This looked like the top of the line of the Toyota. It's called the Murai, Murai. Suffice to say, though, it was not our car. How in the world would you think that's our car? There's my car right over there. Why aren't you bringing that out so I could put my bags in it? So I hate not being able to tip someone for their hard work, but I can't reward that kind of incompetence. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
I
yeah.
assume I assume you agree?
I do. I just it's a show. Life's a show. And if the person is not putting the best foot forward, you can't tip that. But I don't know. I'm you know how I am when it comes to tipping. I don't tip everybody.
Have you ever had food you ordered delivered to another table?
I never have had that. I've had the wrong food given to me, but I've never had the wrong food delivered to another table. That's a new one.
Have you ever had someone try to give you someone else's car? Kel, we could have driven that car away, and the people who belonged to that car would wonder where it was.
I
I
mean,
just I can't imagine what could come of that.
the closest I've ever came is I came out of a shopping area, came out to my car thinking it was my car, got into the car, and then realized it wasn't my car. That's about as close as I could come to it. The door was
You know,
open. I jumped.
I've heard about people getting in cars that they think are theirs because they look so much alike, and in this day and time, getting shot for that kind of thing.
Exactly. Well,
You
yeah,
know,
when you can't do it where you live.
well, why? What's happening where I live?
I don't know. Don't you live in Watts? Aren't there riots out there on a weekly basis?
Actually, that's way south of us. You,
Oh,
you remind me a lot of my dad. He used to call me and say, "I demand that you leave that state because of all the fires." And I kept telling them, both of them, my father and my mother. I didn't say it in quite this way, but look at a fucking map now and then, and you'll
well,
see that it's a big ass state with lots of forests, and we lose
okay.
millions of trees a year and somehow still get by.
Great. I agree. What do you think what's the worst thing? I guess I'll ask the question differently. What is the worst thing about living in California? I know what the worst thing in Minnesota is, the snowstorms and the icy November through Aprils. What would
Well,
in
what about people
California?
who die with policemen's knees on their necks? Does that count?
It can.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. We just kind of keep to ourselves. We have special parts of town that we visit. There are parts of this town that I will never see. The closest I will have been to Watts was a USC game at the Coliseum, and then the book festival at USC. And there was nothing there that I would recognize as Watts or Compton, but uh, most likely the pure places as they're situated on a map, I will never see. There are neighborhoods I don't go into. I assume there are neighborhoods in the Twin Cities you don't go into. I know people in St. Paul who've never been to goddamn Minneapolis, and vice
Wow.
versa. You know those?
No, but I
You
believe
don't
them.
know. all of the people you know have been to both St. Paul and Minneapolis.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a lot of people question my sensibilities when I say I'm going to Minneapolis to see a show or to see a Twins game, but for the most part, I think it's pretty tame.
You travel with a pretty cosmopolitan crowd, I must say,
I
because
would imagine.
I know people who just would not go to either place,
I know.
and that's fine. But I just think it's the capital city. There's a big old Capitol building that Jesse
Hmm.
Ventura needed instructions to get to in order to be inaugurated. And then in Minneapolis, there's, the place where Mary Tyler Moore threw her hat up, and there's
Right,
Fauché Tower and
right.
IDS and the big cupcake and well, I'm sorry, Metrodome. They tore that down, didn't they? They
They
replaced it
did.
with the Tesla looking
Yeah.
um,
US Bank
stadium that kills
Stadium.
all the birds.
Birds. Hmm.
Yeah, Bird Stadium. Is Hubert still over there across the street,
That's a
like
good
it
question.
was from Metrodome?
I think so. I don't that I haven't,
Boy,
because since they've taken down Metrodome, I don't get to that side of the Minneapolis very much. It's usually over in the main Hennepin Avenue walk around.
so you don't go to events at AT&T?
Um, no, you mean US Bank Stadium?
Oh, is that what it's called? Okay, I get the
Yeah,
corporations
yeah.
mixed up.
I've been to two Vikings games, but they were a couple years ago. But for the most
Hmm.
part, we'll go to Target Field or Target Center, or a show. We saw Hamilton, we saw concert at Target Center. So, that's where we hang out.
And how was Hamilton?
Oh, top notch. I mean,
Yeah.
really good seats. I think I saw it originally. I saw it in Chicago.
So you've
Uh,
seen it
few-
twice.
yep.
God, this is
Um,
like Cats. It's like the number of times I've seen Cats.
yeah, I've seen
Good. And
Hamilton
Annie.
twice, and I saw Rent three times. So that I don't know if that counts for anything. But no,
I can't condescend though. I'd love to because I saw Cats too many times. I saw Annie too many times. It's all, it all when you really get right down to it, it's to get in somebody's pants. It's to please a woman or to be thought of in future years fondly by your children. Dad took me to Cat, Dad took me to Hamilton. Are they still sticking to that all black cast gimmick?
yes, they are. Well, King George is still a white man, but
Okay.
yes.
They don't have a
Did you?
black King George yet.
No, white King George. I guess as far as minorities go, I believe he's a gay gentleman, but that's
Nice.
neither here nor there.
Nice. And so he has no queen, or he is a queen.
Yeah, it's very Elton John like the song that he sings. It's very, it's good.
Yeah.
I get you can watch this. It's on the Disney Channel. I mean, they
There's
play
just one
Hamilton.
problem. There's just one problem, though. I have no interest.
Are you?
If I
But you're
if
not
I had interest, it
anti-music.
would be different.
But you're not
I'm sorry.
anti-musical, are you? Or really, you saw Cats against your will over the years?
We don't have time to enumerate the musicals I've seen. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen on Broadway. Tommy, where there was a helicopter on stage.
Yeah.
Woman of the Year with Lauren Bacall and Harry Gardino. I could go on and on.
Okay.
Um, uh, there were a couple last year. One at the Golden Theater on Broadway, a Martin McDonough play, and then a Tracy Letts play. I forget the titles of these, but every year we go to New York and we see two or three shows. And so
Okay.
even with the previous administration, the former wife, we did the same thing. So these tend to add up, and I certainly share your enthusiasm for them. I used to be because I was such a realist. I was almost like a naturalist in my artistic interests. But West Side Story, it just struck me as false that people are talking or they're singing, and then suddenly they got switchblades out. They're about to cut each other, and it just I don't know. It didn't ring true. But I guess you have to suspend your disbelief and not overthink it,
Okay. Yes, that's
right?
true. You're right.
Just don't overthink it.
Don't
Well,
overthink it.
I don't like to change the subject from
Please do.
Broadway musicals or your ignorance-based view of California. But Norma Hunt, died in the past a week, and I want to observe her passing and salute her for her contribution posthumously. Norma was the wife of, was the widow of a former employer of mine named Lamar Hunt, who owned the Kansas City Chiefs, part of the Chicago Bulls. Was a visionary. He basically pioneered soccer in the United States, started the MLS, named the Super Bowl. The reason you call it the Super Bowl is because of Lamar Hunt. He was out in his driveway in the Highland Park section of Dallas 60 years ago, and he was bouncing something in his driveway called a Super Ball. And he goes, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Eureka, Super Bowl. And he runs inside and he calls his buddies. And before you know it, we're celebrating every first week of February the innovation known as the Super Bowl. He was a pioneer, and she was his soulmate. And he died in 2005. He outlived him by 18 years, which tells me she was glad to be rid of him so she could, live as long as possible. I also noticed that Harpo Marx's widow lived 38 years after Harpo Marx died, which
Wow.
tells me again, man, I'm glad that harp playing maniac is dead so I can go out and kick up my heels. And she did for the next 38 years. Whereas my mother and father died they were the kind of elderly couple who died within a year of each other. They couldn't stand to live without each other. So he just pretty much gave up all, will to live after he passed. And in less than a year of his passing, she let it go also. So salute, as they would say on Hee Haw, to Norma Hunt, and also another fond remembrance of your late husband, Lamar, who was the son of H.L. Hunt, the Dallas oil billionaire who would share a bag lunch at his home with his children because he was eccentric. They behaved like poor people. Lamar would sit and coach on the airplane trips that I took with him, and he would tear up newspapers as I used to before a radio show to save the clippings and then
Hmm.
throw away the rest. Guys, other businessmen would come back to see him from first class and ask to borrow money for their businesses. And the greatest story of all, I think, of Lamar Hunt is to give you some idea of what an adorable cheapskate he was. Is that he wore a pair of shoes until they basically became sandals. He just would not buy a pair of shoes. He would wear each pair out. And he was on a business trip to New York, taking his morning constitutional type walk, hole developed in one of his shoes. He stopped at one of New York's trademark shoe kiosk, where there's the storefront, and then out front is like a carousel of samples of one shoe, and then of course the other, the mate to that, is in the store if you want to buy the pair. So help me God, despite what you've heard on this podcast so far, and during our podcast existence, I am not creative enough to make this up. He found a shoe that closely resembled the one he had on, the one that was going to survive. And it may not have even been in his thighs, but I assume it was somewhere close. He bought the one shoe, put it on, gave the old shoe to the person to throw away, and went on about his business. The man
Easy.
was a billionaire. He was a
Eccentric.
billionaire.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm curious. His son's name was Clark.
Yes, who now has the KC Chiefs all to himself.
But you can't say that name. You can't say his full name. You can't say Clark Hunt.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that is tricky. Similar to the woman on CNN. I haven't seen her in a long time. Casey Hunt. I would be concerned that I would say, Casey Hunt in introducing her. Maybe that's why she's not on TV much anymore, is somebody made that mistake. You do
A
know
faux
what
pas.
happened to you do know what happened W Light Radio in Minneapolis back in the day. I wish I could think of her
No.
name because she was a darling person. And somebody playing a trick on her while she was on the board, doing a disc jockey thing one weekend evening. It was like one of those prank phone calls like you would occasionally see on The Simpsons, where somebody
Okay.
would call Moe's bar and Moe would go, is there a Seymour Butts here? That kind of thing.
Hmm.
Somebody called, I think her name was Nancy, and he called and said, I'd like to hear some Air Supply, and I'm wondering if you would dedicate it to Mike. If you wouldn't mind dedicating it to Mike Hunt. All right, very good. Will do. Thanks so much. And then as soon as the record she was playing ran out, she introduced it just as sincere, as sweet as the driven snow, the upper Midwestern, shirt off their back, salt of the earth people, and just naive as hell. And she goes on the air and she says, now here's some Air Supply for Mike Hunt. That's like local top 15 market bleeps and bloopers material there.
You can't write this
Thank-
stuff.
Thanks for reminding me of that. How are we doing on time? Let's see. I'm consulting my notes. I had planned tomorrow to go to Las Vegas to bet on Champions League final,
Okay.
and
Oh,
it's not going to happen because the favorite Manchester City is too expensive. I only go to like a minus 200 money line where you have to, pay 2,000 to make 1,000. And
right.
so they're going to have to do it without me. I'll watch it, on TV. Even giving a goal and a half, they're pretty expensive. So, and you know what? These teams come from different worlds.
Oh, yeah.
Manchester City's lost 4 games against inferior Premier League competition. On the other hand, Inter Milan has lost 11 games from an equally incompetent Serie A competition. I just,
Mhm.
it's like it reminds me of first round of an NCAA basketball tournament game. Holy Cross versus San Diego State, How the hell do you know
Right.
what's going to go on, right?
You don't.
Do you have any interest in it? Are you going to be watching?
I mean, I'll watch it. Yes, like I've told you before, I'm more of an MLS guy, and so I'm excited with Messi coming. I think it's going to be a cool thing, and get your tickets now. But yeah, I like watching Man City. I like watching good soccer, so it'll be fun.
When you call in or write in tickets online, can you mention that you were an honorary
Right.
Argentinian,
I
and
should
that
get some
you're
free.
you're
Are you
by
drunk?
marriage? No, but a couple more of these and some Tadalafil 20, and I will be. This is the Firestone Union Jack IPA. The ABV
Oh,
on it is 7.0.
God, I got to get me some
So,
of that.
and they're not paying me a darn thing to say that either. Kurt is also imbibing during this podcast.
I
Wonder if he'll
know.
share with us what he's
What is it,
partaking
Kurt?
of.
Oh,
Is it a
sure.
cider?
Yeah, it's another cider. This one's loon juice.
Oh, loon juice is very good. Very
Might actually
popular in the Twin
might be.
Cities.
Is it actually fermented loon juice?
Mm,
It's 5.5 on the alcohol scale.
all right. Hey, Bob, I didn't ask you, what do you think about the PGA LIV thing? Live
Oh,
thing.
damn. We can end with this. I've tantrically delayed it for as long as I can.
Oh, okay.
Um, anyone who is okay with the takeover of European and American sports by a demonic force such as the Saudi royal family and wealth fund, stay away from me. You are no longer my friend.
Oh,
I challenge the new honorary Saudi slime, Jay Monahan of the PGA, that if in his business meetings with these scum, uh, here's, maybe he has a translator there who will tell him what they're talking about, because I can see them, speaking Farsi or whatever it is they speak
mhm.
around him and making him feel, about this tall.
Yeah.
That if he ever gets wind that they're about to train some more pilots to come to the United States and knock over another couple of buildings and kill another 3,000 people, or enslave more women and gays in their own country, or mutilate more Yemeni children, um, I hope that he will inform my government. I hope that he will do his duty. But apparently, human rights are boring. Show me the
Hmm.
money. That seems to be the attitude, certainly of Phil Mickelson. And yesterday, I didn't even. I knew I would be too upset if I saw the CNN interview with Bryson DeChambeau, who actually said, did you see or hear about this interview?
I didn't know. What did he
It's
say?
been 22 years since 9/11. We need to forgive the Saudis for their role in it
Oh my
and
God.
move on and move on. Spoken like a true prostitute.
What people
Yeah,
say, I tell you.
that's what you're dealing with. And I texted that day, just under the guise of informing a fellow sports fan. I texted a friend of mine in the Twin Cities, and the message was only this: PGA merges with Live. That's all it was. And then I got this because he's got a daughter who was a great golfer in high school, and maybe he hopes that the Saudis will buy the LPGA too and give her lots of money. He went on the side that I cannot respect, and
Yeah.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to cancel him. I've canceled so many people and institutions in the past week over events in
Yeah.
the culture. I feel like I've lost 30 pounds. He's a Chicago Cubs fan too. And
Oh,
so I never said it this way, and I don't want to have to, because I hope that our correspondence on this and all other subjects is over, though I valued his friendship for 15 years now. Wait until the Saudis come for your American tradition Chicago Cubs. Do you think they're going to stop at Newcastle and Manchester United in the Premier League? Do you think they're going to stop with Messi's promotional contract and signing Benzema away from Real Madrid? You think they're
yeah.
going to stop with the PGA? No, they're coming for you. All the things you've heard from Republicans about uh, uh, caravans of migrants coming for you, Obama coming for your guns. That's nothing compared to this. They are actually coming for you. And the worst thing that can happen is you're going to make a lot of money because they got
Hmm.
$1 trillion they can spend. And this guy named Yasser is your friend and he can help you spend it. So those are my feelings on the matter. And they've
Wow.
already cost me some friends. But,
No,
you know, uh, I, um,
I
I saw
agree.
PTI yesterday, which is one of my favorite sports shows because these guys are of my generation. This Ray Milland, Rosie Greer combo, thing with two heads, Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon. Wilbon ridiculed the PGA players for not taking the live money. And
Mm,
so I just turned it off and I said, we're done. I will not go back to that show again for the rest of my life. So, what were
right.
your feelings on the matter?
No, I agree totally. Totally thinking that this Monahan character is going to be fired. I just think it'll be hilarious that if he works this deal out and then he ultimately gets fired from the job that he was hoping to keep, it'd just be hilarious. I hope he get his just desserts.
If you'll notice on those old tapes, he says to the interviewer, I know I have friends with two families who lost their lives on 9/11, and we honor their memories every year, and blah, blah, blah. And, doing all this poor mouthing. And then, like a thief in the night, which is how, my Bible as a Protestant
Hmm.
describes the end of the world. Like a thief in the night,
Right.
we get the bulletin that there's been this unholy alliance struck by people in the know who you'd never thought would organize such a thing. But it happened,
Yeah.
and and now I don't watch the tournaments uh, so much as I watch the Golf Channel commentary shows. Um,
Here-
so
My question then would be, do you think this will affect sponsorships? Do you think that's the last line here? Like some sponsors are going to say, I'm not going to have anything to do with this? Or do you think they're
given
going to
that,
go right where the money goes?
to me, given that businesses are based on acquiring dollars and not patriots, yes, there will be
Mm,
sponsors. I mean, there's no doubt that if you throw enough of their money at stuff, it's going to succeed. If you watch, I'm not watching.
I agree.
Okay, I
I'm
have,
with you.
you know, uh, maybe the majors where everybody would be together anyway, your Masters, your US Open next week here in LA. But that's as far as it goes. I just think that at some point you have to draw the line. You have to show some conscience and some heart. And I also have to utter this question that many are going to consider socialist. By the way, I'd much rather be funny, but this kind of a subject, begs
No,
the attention of an intellectual superior. I'm kidding.
I agree. No, I agree.
Here's the socialist question. How much money do you need? How
Right.
much is enough? Okay. Phil Mickelson, when you have $100 million, do you take it to the track immediately? Because we realize you have a gambling problem. There's about to be a book is about to be published on Phil Mickelson that will open your eyes to what a lousy person he's been his entire life.
Oh,
Okay. So
I
you have
don't,
to
I believe.
consider the source.
Hmm.
And I'm not watching anything involving the live golfers unless it's one of the majors, Masters, British Open, US Open, PGA. I'll watch those. I will, like an immature person, root against the Kepkas and the Mickelsons and the DeChambeaus. But that's as far as my connection to professional golf. That's as far as it'll close as it'll get.
See, and it's like I also think about the Rorys and the Tigers who stood up for PGA and were like not
Yep.
going to live. But the thing is, you feel sorry for them somewhat, but they're already millionaires. It's not like, oh, they're millionaires and not billionaires. I mean, it's hard to feel too sorry for them, but I don't know.
Adding another $100 million. By the way, to me, I interpret the reason that Tiger turned down the 500 million, hell, for that matter, the reason Messi turned them down and went to
Hmm.
Miami was
Yeah.
because they want to work for an employer they believe in,
Right.
not someone who's bone sawing to death a journalist, who's dismembering a journalist. They did that. The, I think we've been over this. The
Yeah.
three menaces in today's world, I've taken Trump off the list because it's obvious to me now that he's going to prison, he's irrelevant.
Mm,
Putin/Russia, okay,
okay.
the Catholic Church. New York
Fair.
Times comment section did not. It was just a one-line thing in one of their local articles. I forget what it was about, and all I said was, don't get me started on Catholicism." They did not print that. And then the United Arab Emirates. Those and I don't mean to say that about these institutions because I'm bigoted in any way, ethnically against UAE, from a religious standpoint about the Catholic Church,
Hmm.
politically about Putin. The facts are the facts. And it's so easy to find the facts about how those three entities have tried their best to ruin the world for
Yeah.
decades or hundreds of years. It's just that simple. I'm just
Wow.
facing facts.
That's well put. Well put, my friend.
Well,
Um,
it's nice of you to say.
yeah. I guess to close on a weird thing, have you gambled? Did you gamble a lot on golf in the years, or has that not been a high on you'd rather do football and
I don't think I've ever placed a golf bet. I
okay,
love the way they organize the propositions and the
right.
way they pair the golfers against each other. Apparently, Circa in downtown Vegas did this today with a guy I've never heard of who supposedly argued in yesterday's meeting with McIlroy. His name is Grayson Murray. So they
Okay.
paired those two off, Grayson Murray versus McIlroy. I don't know what the money line was on each of them, but McIlroy was one under and Murray was three over. So McIlroy won that proposition. Long
Okay.
answer, short, no. I've never
Because
gambled
like it's
on.
I hear it's great. I haven't either, but I hear it's great fun to like pick a bunch of golfers because usually the odds are pretty good, better than
Yeah.
like a one-on-one football game. You get it like if you can take a bunch of different golfers, like horse races, I
Right.
guess.
The one that I did fictitiously a few weeks ago, it was a second or third round of a tournament, and it was something about Scheffler, Scotty Scheffler, over or under 71 for the round.
Hmm.
So I said, okay, let's make believe that I have under 71. The man shot 73 or 74. He couldn't find his ass with both hands. And so that's how people lose money at golf.
Yeah.
That's how I would lose money this weekend at soccer with that kind of performance, you know. Still
Right.
looking forward to that game. I'm gonna do a an NFL trip. I'm gonna drive. If you've never driven, if you've never ridden in an Italian spaceship that gets you to Las Vegas in 4 hours instead of 4.5. If
Yeah.
you've never waited in the parking lot for the Nevada State Police because I outrun them, oh, I was wondering when you guys were going to get here. Okay, how much do I owe you? That kind of thing. Some Norm, what's the comedian, late comedian's name? Norm
McDonald.
Macdonald. Norm Macdonald. When they finally catch me
Yeah.
in the parking lot of the Palace Station in Las Vegas. Anyway, a college and NFL weekend, little trip back and forth 3 or 4 days. I think that's a little classier maybe than our sports book in Iowa that we were talking about.
Yeah.
So please consider that. I think that would be a great time. And it's
Oh
only,
yeah.
it's like 3 days away. This is something else. People are still saying the most ridiculous things to me, Kel. And it's not a California thing because I'm getting it from Minneapolis as well. In the
Okay.
past week or two, I'm hearing, no, I can't come visit you. I can't go to Vegas or anywhere with you because I need to spend every day for the rest of my life with my only child, who I can already tell at the age of 8 is pulling away from me. I know you know how I feel. And yes, I agree with the daughter daddy bond. It's
Yeah.
incomparable. So
Hmm.
I let that slide. He canceled himself, so what can I do? But even the next door neighbor, and this was, I think, yesterday or the day before, I've got a garage door repairman in the garage with me. And, they're licensed and bonded. Yeah, you shouldn't worry about them coming back and knowing how to get into your place to ransack it. He
Right.
comes over and she says, "Oh, you're home. Good. This will save me an email." Save you an email? An email takes maybe 15 seconds to write to tell me that you're going to be out of town for 2 weeks. And could we water your plants? Could we look in on your place to make sure it hasn't been broken into? And this
See,
conversation is taking place in front of the stranger who appears to be, I don't mean to, cast aspersions. He appears to be some sort of exotic ethnic minority that Southern California could produce, Turkish, something along those lines. And you know, you set up this
mhm.
paranoia in your head. Oh, he's storing this. He and some guys are going to come back, and he's going to knock over her place. But she thought nothing of telling me the innermost details of her trip to Japan for 2 weeks, and I'm just sitting here. I want to go, but she keeps talking. Oh, this will save me an email. Now, isn't that one of the most stupid things you've ever heard? But people are
It's
still
pretty
doing this
stupid.
every day. It's something new and stupid. That's all I have to look forward to. And the sun finally came out today. We've had
Uh,
no summer. You guys are so lucky. You've had a summer. I'll bet your temperatures have been 70s and 80s
oh, we've
in
had
recent
88.
weeks,
We
right?
were at 88 today.
Awesome. I'm so happy for you. I wish we had that. We do not. I've had to plot to like drive to 29 Palms or to Palm Springs or something like that so I can have a summer. I was raised in Texas in hot weather. I need that, from a morale standpoint. Tadalafil 20 can only do so
Well,
much.
well, that's the thing. Then that's why we're turning around, and you have to come back here because then we'll make the Iowa trip because it's hotter here.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's
Something to think
fantastic.
about. Whatever works for you, we'll make it work.
What's the local pool? Is there a pool there, a swimming pool we can go to?
Yeah,
Oh no,
there's
you
the
got 10,000 lakes.
yeah
What am I thinking?
the swimming
Where's
hole. You know all
where,
about
where's
the
the
swimming
nearest
hole.
where's the nearest lake to your place?
Oh, White
White
Bear
Bear
Lake.
Lake.
Yep, White Bear
And
Lake.
it's a pretty cold lake, as I recall. But you can just jump into it whenever you like, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think
Oh man,
we should do a golf outing, go up to Manitow and do a nice play 18. I'm playing in a golf tournament next Monday. You'd be proud of me. I know,
where
right? For work.
where?
It's our work. It's out some Ham Lake up in Blaine. So yeah, I know. Little Kel playing golf.
That
They
is fantastic.
the company I work for now does plenty of sponsored golf tournaments throughout the year. So it's like nice to get out there again.
Yeah.
I don't know. What would you suggest to get ready for it? Should I go hit, that top, what's it called? Stop it. Top Golf, is that where have you ever done that where you just go to the driving range and hit? No.
The last time I was at a driving range was with my son when he was very small.
Oh,
And continuing the tradition of being a corrupting influence, he and I sat in the car while people swung their clubs out on the mats, on the driving range.
yeah.
And as they would get into their backswing, I would honk. I would honk the horn, and
You
then we
did
would
it.
both slink under the dash.
Oh,
Then we would
oh.
come out from under the dash and wait a few minutes, and then some more people would step up and bring the club back, and I'd honk the horn, and we'd slink under the dash.
Isn't it
I
funny?
guess I don't know. He was probably 6 at the time. He was
Yeah.
born in 86, 92. I was 41 years old. That's some pretty mature behavior for that age of man, isn't it?
You were raising a juvenile delinquent. You did it.
That's truth. All right. You guys have a great weekend, and then week after, and we'll see you when we see you. Same thing to the viewers of the Bob and Kel CleverCast. So long for now. I'm reaching for the button.